One of the logos at the beginning of this movie has a math page where it just like has a math algorithm, and I was like, what is that? That looked like another language. Sent it to my son and he said, yeah, that's pretty basic, and I just felt stupid. Anyway, this film, let's get into it. A friendship forms between two strangers. For Henry Teague, worn down by a lifetime of physical labor, this is a dream come true. His new friend Mark becomes his savior and ally. However, neither is who they appear to be, and in the background, one of the nation's largest operations is closing in. So this film is based on the real-life Daniel Morcombe case. In 2003, a 13-year-old Morcombe was kidnapped and killed. A lengthy undercover police operation eventually led to Brett Peter Cohen. Okay, so it's over 2 hours long, and the first thing I'm going to say about this, I can understand why you wouldn't be in it for the long haul. It's a very long film. Standard for a drama, thriller, tense film like this to be 2 hours or just over 2 hours. However, the film feels long purposely. All the cinematography is drawn out. The dialogue heavy, not so dialogue heavy film, and I get to that in a minute, feels like it's also drawn out as a part of the film. It's very art or avant-garde. It's almost like an indie film, but not quite, because of our two main protagonists, who I would consider as like AAA list actors, because I think they're great and have amazing presence. Joel Edgerton plays Mark and Sean Harris Henry T. And so what I meant by the dialogue being heavy and not dialogue heavy, there's a lot that's said in these scenes that's unsaid. So although there isn't spoken dialogue, what's being shown on their face is fear, trauma, brokenness. We have these two guys meet in a different past in their lifetime. One has gone through a bunch of stuff in his past, and one is carrying a lot of weight. And basically, one's life is going that way and the other's kind of following them on that path. The secrets they hold, however, will shape the path of the movie. It can feel a little bit disjointed as we are shown flashbacks, this police case, this long investigation, until it kind of comes together in its fruition and leading the stories to a conjoined ending that feels somewhat satisfying. Although this film is very dark and long, drawn out, moody, and there is a tenseness to this film, man. Even though they're not showing it, there's not a lot on screen that's like scary. The visceral nature of the case itself leads to an air of this just feels nasty. Like in your gut, you're watching it and you're like, whew. And then we get to know these two characters. Joel Edgerton plays this dad, but also a cop who, I guess that the job is getting to him, and we see his mental state degrade over time. And then we flip over to Sean Harris, who's playing Henry, and at the beginning he seems very broken and disjointed, not really knowing what to do with himself. And then as the film progresses, we see him start to pull himself together, even the way he carries himself, the way he walks, a bit more sure of himself. It feels like these two characters go like counterclockwise, but are still meeting at the end of the fruition of the story, which I really liked how they put that together. There are some creepy dream sequences that caught me off guard, but other than that, there isn't a lot of horror. It's just tense and thriller-ish. The story is the puzzle piece of the mystery that you kind of want to get to its point quicker than it is. I'm not standing here saying this is an absolutely brilliant, perfect film. I think they could absolutely have shaved some of this time down, but then I don't think the film would be what it is. It has the bravery to make you wait for the answers, and it starts to embellish itself. Can feel like it's a bit pretentious. It takes long on some of those scenes, that mise-en-scene, showing everything in scene and not cutting away, and then cutting sharply when you're not expecting it to, or then using dialogue to move the scene but you want it to move quicker, or those faces that you're looking at them, you wish they would just say something out loud or not mess up as they're saying stuff with their face without saying it. It's a whole kind of turmoil of emotions on faces that you get by the actors that are portrayed on screen, and then the dialogue itself is also tense. And so what you're getting is pretty much an art house film in amongst this tense story that's based on a true story. And I feel like some people will just be switched off like that and be like, yeah, I'm out. But other people, this will be their cup of tea. It's definitely gonna have like a split audience. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think it's something I would ever go back to. It's worth watching just for the performances alone and some of that cinematography, the way they edit this film, even though it's very slow in pacing, dialogue not heavy but heavy. Now that I've explained that, I hope you find something if you like these tense sort of films. I hope you find it as enjoyable as I did up to a point. I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. It's almost pushing a 4, but I just feel I really felt the length of this one. And I'm used to sitting myself down. When you see this type of genre film, you feel like you know what you're in for, but sometimes they just push that storyline a bit too far, a bit too long. But hey, what do I know? Let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe you loved it and thought it was 5-star all the way, but I'm gonna give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
Love to know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. Do check out our cornucopia of other content that we have up at the moment, putting out loads of reviews. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a great community growing here. Do hit that bell, because if you don't hit that bell, then I get lost in the review apocalypse of YouTube. See you next time.